good evening, I bid to Associate Professor Dr. Rosmaliza Muhammad Kamaluddin, lecturer in EDIT2604, fellow lecturers and all guests, brothers and sisters. Ahlan wa sahlan and welcome to the very first webinar of Mobile Application Development Process. First and foremost, let us begin our webinar today with our most prestigious university anthem, IIUM song.
To invite Brother Ahmad Shamin to lead the dua recitation. Brother, you are most welcome.
Thank you, Sister. Assalamualaikum. Okay, baca ya. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi washabihi ajma'in. Allahumma iftah 'alaina hikmataka wa anshur 'alaina min khazaini rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Rabbi zidna ilman warzuqna fahman bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Amin amin ya rabbal alamin. Hopefully today's webinar will be carried out smoothly, inshallah.
Before we proceed, it is nice to have a short photo session. Dear ladies and gentlemen, please open your camera and give us the biggest smile you have. All right, one more time. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. So all praise be to Allah, the Lord, the Creator, and the Sustainer of the universe, for allowing us to gather here today. For your information, Mobile Apps Development Webinar is one of the slots brought by EDIT2604 Internet Application in Education course, Kuliah of Education in IIUM, with the objective to learn on how to develop a mobile application with a great speaker who will amaze you with all of his knowledge and experiences.
Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. For this webinar today, the topic that we will be discussing is Mobile Application Development Process. And I am Aina Sabrina, and this is my partner,
Siti Shaira.
And we are going to be your MC and host for today. Before we go through deeply on this topic, let me introduce to you who is our honorable and knowledgeable speaker for today. So ladies and gentlemen, our honorable speaker is Dr. Farhan bin Mohamed. He is currently the acting director and holding the post of Deputy Director, Branding Management and Digital Communication at UTM Office of Strategy and Corporate Affairs. He is also an IEEE senior member and a committee member for IEEE, Computer Society Malaysia, and a member for ACM, MYHCI, UX Malaysia. Dr. Farhan was a member of 100 ACM Global Practitioner Advisory Committee for 2017 until 2018. He was fellow for CEO at faculty attached to Huawei Malaysia. He received the Royal Academy of Engineering, United Kingdom, Leaders in Innovation Fellowship in 2017. Dr. Farhan was previously the Chief Technology Officer, CTO of Magic Act Sendirian Berhad.
For his educational background, Dr. Farhan received his PhD in Computer Science Data Visualization from Swansea University, UK in 2014. Dr. Farhan received his Bachelor of Science in Computer Science in 2003 and Master of Science in Computer Science 2007 from University Technology Malaysia. Currently, his work focuses on digital branding, gamification, data visualization, and augmented and virtual reality. His research interests broaden to include visual analytics, visual metaphors, human-computer interaction, virtual environment, and procedural computer graphics. So, Assalamualaikum Dr. Farhan, how are you today?
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for very kind introduction and very mouthful the words that you mentioned already.
Okay, so, Alhamdulillah. I hope everybody else is doing great as well. So without wasting any more time, we are going to pass the floor to Dr. Farhan to continue with the sharing session. So Dr. Farhan, you are most welcome.
Okay, all right. So should I start the presentation now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Assalamualaikum, and because you guys earlier said ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban bikum, so I should say something similar. All right, thank you very much for inviting me. So that's a great start of your basically official UIAM video, and I think you guys very proud of it. I think the first one I listened in English from Malaysia University, right? So let me share the slides. Okay, first of all, again, thank you very much for introducing me. I think Sub and Shu, right? Not to mention you guys' name. And again, thank you very much to Dr. Rose for inviting me to give this session. I think it's quite a big task basically. The thing is, you guys want to learn mobile application development, but in the same time, you don't want to learn programming, right? Okay, and I have to put it in a nutshell, 1 hour or less, and then Sub tell me 45 minutes can, doctor? I say okay lah, can 45 minutes. So it's getting shorter. Usually we learn mobile development, it will take about 2 years, right? So it will be a crash course, but hopefully you guys can learn something out of it, right? And from basically learning from my experience with Dr. Rose, I don't want to disappoint her lah. So nanti kena backslash in my WhatsApp group. All right. So all right, so let's start. So thank you for the nice poster you got there. So I'm Dr. Farhan, and I'm from Media and Games Innovation Center of Excellence. I'm still a fellow there. Last time I was a CTO, but now because I'm attached to the Corporate Affairs UTM, acting director of the Corporate Affairs. So I'm just I'm just working as a fellow at Media and Games Innovation Center of Excellence. At the same time, the easiest way to say is I'm a lecturer at UTM, computer science lecturer at UTM. Right. So this is UTM. So I need to introduce this first. So tak nak kalah dengan korang, basically in front of UTM we also have Arabic word here. So say that waku Rabbi zidni ilman, dan katakanlah ya Allah tambahkan ilmu. I think the same similar doa that being recited earlier. I think the handsome guy mentioned something about waku Rabbi zidni ilman. I think the same one here, right? So this is the entrance of UTM in Johor Bahru. So it's not in KL. So if you go to Johor Bahru, you will see here. So here is the map. From Johor Bahru, I need to take about 3 hours and 36 minutes to UIA if by car, right? So, and there's a dot there, I put there, a blue dot, that's UTM Kuala Lumpur, I think approximately there. So they will be a lot closer. For next time I'll be in KL, maybe we can meet, I don't know. But right now I'm here in JB, and there's a roadblock here, I think, and another roadblock maybe here and here. And Dr. Rose need to provide me maybe some letter if I want to go there in your place, I mean to your place. Okay, right. So so there's a basic information where I am, and basically this is UIA. And let me start with the structure of the lecture. So first I'm going to talk a bit about ideation and why it is important. And the second one, since you guys are new, so I'll be touching a bit about mobile app development phases. This is where you're going to learn a bit about what is mobile apps and how the process starts from scratch, from idea, then becoming workable applications. The next step, we're going to learn an app. So this time I'm going to try to open this app called Invision App. So I usually use this app for my human-computer interaction classes to prototype app, and it will be a fun app for you guys to explore on. Once you guys use this app, basically, you need to develop the app. So I'm going to talk a bit about the complexity of mobile app development. So bear with me, this will be a bit boring, a bit, I don't know, take a bit time to understand about it. But then again, finally, I'm going to talk to you about shortcuts, and if you want to develop an app, and by using an app called Adalo. So app over app. So that's the gist of my lecture today. Right. If you guys can see the slides right now, right? So there's a way in ideation, we call it as design thinking process. Okay. Design thinking process is a process which is developed by a Stanford University lecturer, and it has been being used so many times. If you go to Magic Cyberjaya, so they're going to talk about design thinking process. If you go to any startups in Silicon Valley, they're going to talk about design thinking process. And if you go to any startups around the world, if you ask them, they don't know about design thinking process, so they are not startup and they are not really keen on developing something which is new. So I was lucky enough to go to Stanford, I think 2015, with a few selected people from Malaysia. We learned about this design thinking process. So in design thinking, there are 5 phases or 5, I can say, stages. The first one is to empathize. So anytime you want to get basically an idea to make up an app or something, a workable system, you first need to empathize. What I mean here in empathize is you need to look into the users. You understand the user first. Let's say you want to develop an app for Hajj pilgrimage, let's say, from Malaysia. So you need to understand where, for example, it starts from. You need to see the person itself, and you see how basically from A to Z that the person experience whatever the thing that they are doing. So that's empathize. Let's say you want to create an app for a student. So you need to understand the student, where they live, what age they are, and what they do, what normally. Sometimes you also need to know what the hobby of that person is, what the favorite color of the students, and so on. So this is the empathize phase. And usually we're going to take about like 5 to 8% to understand this, but it depends on your project, of course. Sometimes if you want to develop an app for let's say a government agency, you need to see stakeholders. Last time I did develop with my team in MagicX, we developed an app for Ministry of Science, and during that time we engaged with few people or stakeholders in the ministry just to get the ideas. Then once you empathize, the next stage is to define the problem. So you understand the problem. Let's say this is an app about let's say the easiest is Ramadan right now, right? So maybe an app about Bazaar Ramadan and people want to buy foods, right? So you empathize about that person. Oh, you're hungry, right? So define the problem is basically where they can buy the food, let's say during Ramadan, where they can find, let's say, Bazaar Ramadan during this time of COVID and so on. Can they buy it online? So the idea is in the end, they just want to get the food on their table before the iftar time comes. So that's the definition. So from empathize, from the problems that you select, then you need to define and categorize the problem which you can work on. So right now, let's say for iftar during Ramadan, you define it. So the person really want just the food on the table. So that's why Grab food coming, that's why Food Panda coming. At first, they're thinking about the people who want to go to the restaurant, but the problem is actually the person want to get the food on their table. So that's why Food Panda come in and so on, other food deliveries. All right. The next stage in design thinking process is ideate. Okay. In ideation, there are stages of ideation from crazy ideas to boring ideas to normal ideas and so on. And the best ideas are crazy ideas in this stage. So let's say about getting food on your table, what's the best idea? The most conventional, of course, you can use Grab food, you can use Food Panda. Crazy ideas, let's say you can have like the food, open the fridge, automatically the food will be sent to you by air. So that's crazy ideas. But crazy ideas are important at the stage of design thinking process. It is not to limit your capabilities of your thinking. You can have like crazy ideas, maybe a Superman coming in, bringing the food straight away. Or maybe, I don't know, the food can come out of your screen by clicking it. So that's crazy ideas. So not to limit your basically imagination. Okay. Once you combine all those things, you ideate the ideation, that the idea you got, usually you got like, we call it the crazy 8 ideas. So that's another process. Then you prototype it. You select the ideas, you eliminate the impossible things you cannot do. And in the end, you combine it and you become it one good, you're thinking about creating a prototype. So this is the stage where you prototype your product and you have a look and feel. So today we're going to learn a bit about this stage, right? And finally, you test it. So this is a thing which most people usually forget about. So when you create a product or an app, you remember the first person that you see during the empathize phase. Sometimes you need to call them back and test the product. Sometimes you need to test it. Sometimes we call it test in the wild. Sometimes we call it test in the lab. So there are stages of testing and types of testing. Basically, you just need to test it, give it to the users and get feedbacks from the users. And the feedbacks are very important for the users to basically work on it. And in the end, saying that this is a good app and I want to use it. The keyword is I want to use it. When can I get it? So that's the key when you want to basically get during the test period. And this is an iterative process, means that you test it, you got some good feedback, some bad feedback, so you process it again, another prototype. You test it and you prototype it again. And these 2 phases of prototype and testing usually, right? We call it a process of software development life cycle or design life cycle. So in this life cycle, usually you got a lot of testing and re-prototyping, new prototype, and so on. So that's why there's have you heard about version? Let's say you have like version 0.1, let's say Microsoft Office 0.1, 0.2. So those are some minor tweak of the version until it becomes version 1, means it's a release, means it's out to the public. So they have 1.1 point something. So those are some minor revisions of the version, right? And there's no such thing as a perfect app for release. So usually people just release the app and basically see how the users give feedback on it, right? Right. During your ideation process, also you need to look into, we call it as trends. So this is from EpiPy. I'm going to just introduce you API later on. So in 2021, people are talking about apps which is VR and AR enabled apps. So these are the trends right now. So if you want to create a new app, make sure you create an app which is related to the problem that you have. And secondly, some sort of like into the current trends. The second one is blockchain apps. So blockchain apps are more technical apps, but there are tools out there for you to learn about the blockchain technology. The third one, dating apps. So this is trending for 2021. Since you guys cannot see each other in campus, so I think this is a good app. I should not say good app. Okay, so this is an app which might be useful, right? So basically, it's dating apps, or you can see it's a sort of communication apps. So between one person to another. So they are available out there, for example, for international, and there are also some Muslim-friendly kind of apps, dating apps, and somehow it becoming trendy during this lockdown seasons and so on, right? The third one and the fourth one is IoT apps. IoT apps are apps which related to devices. Let's say you have a smartwatch, so you can create an app related to smartwatch. You have an app for controlling your lights, maybe air conditioner at home and so on. So these are Internet of Things apps. So these the fourth one, and finally chatbots. So if you guys realize in CIMB apps, right? You guys use what kind of bank account over there? Maybank ke apa pakai kat UIA? Muamalat, right? So for Muamalat, I'm not sure, but in at CIMB there's one component called EVA. It's a chatbot. Basically, you can talk to the chatbot and it will respond to you. Something similar to your mobile phone, right? Your mobile phone right now, for example, if you use Google, you can just say, "Hey Google," and it will talk to you back, right? And if you have iPhone, you have like Siri, right? And you can also make jokes with Siri and so on. So that's another thing, right? You can play around. So these are the trends right now. First, VR and AR enable. Right. Second one, blockchain. The third one is dating apps. And the fourth one is IoT apps. And the chatbot is the fifth one, right? So I guess you guys may be interested in few like VR and AR. You can try it out later on, right? So that's the trends. Okay, now to the more serious part of the lecture, right? Okay, so mobile app development process, I took it from IST networks, right? But it's almost similar to any other mobile application development process. Something similar to the design thinking I introduced you earlier. So the first one is you need to strategize what kind of app. Let's say I want to create a dating app, let's say, right? So the strategy is define the strategy, the goal, about the idea, how you're going to connect, is it Muslim friendly and so on, and how you to make sure that the rules are being followed and so on. The second one is analyzing and planning. You need to identify the requirements, define team structure, and prepare product map. Right. During my CTO time at MagiX, there's a secret recipe for a successful startup that I think I can realize in any startup around the world. So you need to have 3 persons, right? The first one is the idea, or the CEO, you can say, the idea person. So the idea person usually is like the one who become the CEO and has the idea and usually know a bit about the design and know a bit about the technical part of the application. And this is sometimes we call it integrator, right, in technical terms. So this is the first person. Okay, so usually this guy is going to become CEO and so on. The second one is the back end guy, the programmer. All right, so if you don't have any programmer, try to find your friends in computer science faculty or other universities who are programmer. So this is the back end guy who understands the databases, who understand the technical part, the security part, the mobile development technical parts. So that's the second person. The third person you need to have is a designer, the one who designed basically the brand ideas and the look and feel of the app, let's say, or any kind of system that you have. So if you don't have these three, usually a startup won't succeed in my view lah. I've seen so many startups, more than 40, I think. And those who succeed successfully in the startup world usually has at least 3 persons as their co-founders, right? And sometimes you have an idea, if you have a lot of money, you can buy those teams. But if you don't have a lot of money and you want to go further, usually you need like these 3 people in your team. Trust me. So for example, one successful startup from Magic X, if you guys know Cool Code, right? Cool Code is one of the startup and they run cloud. It's a cloud services now. They develop app for Omar and Hana, develop app for Astro and many others. And what they did, actually they have like the founder, the co-founders are, one is the CEO right now, Arif Tukiman. The second one is the back-end person, we call it Jebat. His name is Fikri. And the designer also, there's a few other designers there, and the one who managed Army also over there. So these 3 people, they start the company and they're becoming successful, right? And you guys can Google Cool Code and so on, right? So here the team, right? The second part, the third part is basically the UI and UX design. So design of the front end. This is, you need to understand your brand, how your brand looks like, and how the customer likes. So the selection of colors, the font, the design, how many pages you need for your app, and so on. So that's very important. So let's say for colors, if you want to develop an app, for example, for Manchester United, let's say, right? You won't color it blue, you will color it red, right? So if you want to develop an app for Chelsea, you won't color it red, right? You will color it blue. So those are the things you need to consider: the context, the the culture, and so on. About food, let's say you want to create an app about food, you need to have striking colors, like food, right? So because it's Ramadan, I talk a lot about food. Okay, so those are the things you need to consider. Let's say you want to create an app about UIA. What's the color of UIA that you have?
Voice.
Yeah, turquoise, right? So maybe the color, you need to incorporate turquoise color, right, in your app. So that's very important in brand. And also, let's say you have a page about restaurants in UIA, maybe the colors also different, right? Depend on the locations. A coffee shop in UIA, so also different colors and different mood, different fonts, and different kind of settings. Once you design it, then you develop it. So usually people forgot about this stage and they combine it together. Actually, both are 2 different processes. You need to test the design first. Once you test the design, then you can develop the app. Else, if you straight away to the development, you will have a lot of headache when you have problem with the UI and basically the back-end process earlier. Finally, just like in the design thinking process, you're going to test it. When you test your app, give it to the real users. The best is real users. You can have lab tests. You call people come in and test your app, and you watch the person using your app. How do they use the app basically? And you can also use analytics right now. For example, you collect the data of users. Which part of the website they click more, let's say. Which part of the app they like more. So if they like that more, then you put it in the front of the app. If you don't like it, they don't like it, so let's put it behind or hide it somewhere, just to make it easier for the users to access the app, right? And finally, development and support. So this is other thing. These are some other things which people forget about. Support. So support of app is very important once you launch it. So when you got like negative comments and so on, don't go basically basically depressed or something, take that basically comments and make it an improvement to your app, right? So that's the deployment and support. So the deployment is a bit technical, but there's a shortcut I'm going to show you, right? So now I'm going to share you a prototyping application which I use for my students in human-computer interactions. So it's called Invision App, right? So this is a very cool app for you guys to prototype. I'm going to share this, hopefully. Actually, I just want to tell you guys, the YB Menteri is coming to UTM in another 30 minutes. And for you guys, I'm here. So, and I'm the corporate head right now. So I need to be there around the 3:15 maybe. Right, so this is Invision App, and the app is basically for you to prototype. One good thing about this prototyping tool is you can work together, right? And it's quite easy. Let me just sign in Invision App. All right. So I cleared up my Invision projects, and there are few projects here. I forgot to clean. But basically, you can work together. Let's say I want to start a new prototype here. Okay, so you have like here a prototype, a freehand, and a board. A board is something similar to any other board. Not Mentimeter, what's that? So basically, you can put board ideas and so on. You take pictures from other place, you put it on the board. And it's a board where you can put many things and get ideas, and you can share it with your collaborators. Freehand is where you start your ideas. You can draw, do wireframe. Wireframe means a sketch and present ideas in real time with your friends. And prototype is where you prototype. Let's start with freehand. I'm going to show you now. I'm going to try a sample here. And you guys can install it for free. So this is how it looks like for Invision example. Basically, this is what we call sketch, and I can easily share with you guys. Let me just wait for it to load. Okay, for Invision App, you need one thing is you need a mouse. You cannot see my mouse. Gelap. Okay, mouse. And you need a trackpad for you to navigate easily. So laptop users, would be easier because you need to move this around and maybe zoom it using your trackpad and so on. So this is a mobile app example. Let me just, and here I can basically create let's say I want to reach this. If let's say I create like this, it doesn't looks nice, right? But the Invision can help me with that. I'm pressing option. Here I'm creating a nice box. And if I want to create a circle, also I click an option on my keyboard and my mouse. So you detect circle. And let's say I want a line down here. Instead of like this, I want to be line. Shift and mouse click. So this is my new interface instead of this one. If I don't like, I'm going to put here reaction. I don't like. Okay, and we will display. Let me try something else with you guys. So that's the basic one. You can try it out later on and play it out. I'm going to create a new freehand here. I'm going to Crazy 8. Right. Another good thing about the Invision, you have a lot of templates which you can use. So in this case, you have brainstorming template, customer journey map, crazy 8 brainstorming, wireframe, sprint, meeting agenda, product launch, and so on. So it's quite a good tool, and this template also being given by a well-known kind company, AWS, which is a Amazon company, Monday.com, which is an app, IBM. So you can use their tools for developing your app. So I'm going to use this, what I call as the Crazy 8 brainstorming. And I want you to collaborate. Crazy 8 is basically another method in creating an app. You have like 8 new crazy, you have ideas and you need to do it in 30 minutes. So for example, so that's Crazy 8. But today, I just want to give you guys have metric number, right?
Yes.
So your
Yes.
okay, your metric number end with numbers or end with letters?
Numbers.
Okay, good. Right, so if you guys end with numbers, let me share this. For those who have what we call metric numbers and 0 to 2, write their name here. 3 to 5. Okay, mind my writing. 6 to 7, 8, 8. Okay, this one I delete lah. It's 1, 2, and I try anywhere in the box. So what I'm going to do is here I push this, click this share button, I copy the link, and I'm going to share with you guys. So kat mana? Chat, okay. To everyone. Okay, you guys can try to log in there and put your name inside each of these basically Crazy 8 boxes. But the purpose of Crazy 8 is actually different. You need to have 8 ideas or ideas in 8 pages. Okay, I can see Ikmal is already, you guys can see dia punya basically cursor, right? Ahmad Syamin already in, right? You guys can play around with it and collaborate with your friends. If you guys enter as guests, you won't have any function like I do like this, I think. You cannot do reactions. If you guys enter with a basically login name, you can enter with reactions, right? You can draw, you can put pictures in. Let's say I want to upload pictures here. Let's say upload Tasik or becoming Tasik at the background. Penuh pula kan. Right, things like that. Tada, right. Okay, so the functions you got here in basically sketch mode, you have here at the top bottom, the top part is a pointer where you can basically delete, do anything. You point to something and I can delete it. I can drag it and so on. So that's the top one, right? Pointer. The second one is the pencil tool, the one that you are using right now, and you can draw and do anything with it. The third one are text. Let's say I put here my number and here, so I put here my name is Farhan. Okay, right. And here the next one is the shape tool. You can draw any kind of shapes and you can change the color actually at the top. Right here, I want to change it to purple. Okay. The next one is image. You can download it or upload it from your PC. Finally, sticky note. I say it's like this section is the most active one. Right. Okay. And this is how you collaborate. Okay. The next thing I want to show you with this thing, with the Invision. Okay, I'm going to leave this part and you guys can play around and collaborate with your friends later on. Is because the time limit we got here, right? I'm going to show you what we call as the prototype, right? So I'm going to try a sample here. Let's say for try prototype. Okay, got it. So in prototype, basically, these are all you can say images, PNG images. You create, let's say, from your PowerPoint and so on, and you put it here. And you can link them together and becoming an app. And you can test it. So to test this, basically, here you got here, I'm going to make it full screen. You guys can see, so now I'm in a screen mode and I already select basically the mode of screen I want to show this. Somehow my mouse, okay. And you can test it out and look how does it look like. And you can see that we call this as hotspot. So once you create hotspot, you can click it and it works like a real prototype. And next, let's see, where's the overview, back, travel, and so on. And this is the mode of preview mode. The second one is the build mode. Basically, you can build, let's say, the hotspot. Once I click here, I want to go which screen. Let's say I want to go to external URL screen, or you can click to website and so on. Or I want to go to last screen visited by gesture tab and transition instant. So this is similar to PowerPoint if you realize. And now it's just like PowerPoint. Right, so I go back to the preview mode and I click here. Yes. Okay, it doesn't, okay. The previous screen is this screen. So it's supposed to go to another screen if there's another screen, right? Yeah, yeah. Right, so there's a previous screen. Okay, and it shows where you can try. Here, during prototyping, not all functions are good. It's just to give you a look and feel of the app. So the users, let's say you test it to basically someone who's going to do iftar today. So you say you can only click to these buttons and see what's next happening, right? And click here and what's next happening and so on. So that's in the mode. You have like a preview mode, build mode, how you're going to build and link between each screen. Comment, let's say you don't like this, I can comment it, say I think it is better in the course. Betul ke saya je? Macam ni punya. Okay. So I can also share this link with you guys, and you guys can share, basically can edit and comment it. So I have like collaborators. So this is me, and this is myself in another account in my Gmail. So you can have like collaborators, and people in the collaborator list can comment and look into it. And once you're done, for example, you can always go back and show the details later on. And here the history. And here inspect. Inspect is basically where you, once you've done all the things, you want to know the colors, what the colors are, the dimension, where you want to implement it on your app. Okay. Right, so that's it for the projects and the prototypes. Okay, so you guys can explore this Invision for your prototyping, for your basically drafting or wireframing. Okay, you guys, if you guys still on the crazy 8, another function I want to show you in this Invision is, you guys can open it again. If I click here, present, what you guys see is basically what I'm seeing right now. So I can present it to you. So go here. If you guys on the screen, you can only see what, basically you can see where I am at, and you're just following where I am going. And you guys can comment. Let's say I'm starting to see this is a screen of a mobile app. Let's say, I think this is a good app, and you guys can comment it. Okay, I like it. Something like that. And you say, I want to put a button here. And pressing option. So I'm using these two, option and circle. Right. So it's becoming circle. I want to put line, shift and line there. So that's the improvement. And this is how you share the screen. If you are in Invision app, you can see if I move around this, you also move around where I'm moving, and you can add furthermore. Right. So this is the first two. Okay, I got 10 more minutes that I'm showing you guys. You guys can follow me until now?
Yes.
All right. So after the Invision app, this is a prototyping. You can find, you can Google the videos and so on to learn how to use this, and you can even show your presentation using this Invision to Dr. Rosla and impress her. Okay, now is the development part. Developing the app, basically there are two types of mobile app development, right? Share screen, right? All right, there are two types of mobile apps development. The first one is native mobile development framework, and the second one is the cross-platform development framework. So for native mobile development framework, basically you have different kind of tools, basically languages, and different kind sets of programming languages and libraries and so on. So basically what I'm saying here is like, if you want to develop in Android, you need to have a set of developers for Android. If you want to develop for Apple iOS, you need a set of developers and new skills for developing iOS. And if you want to develop for Harmony OS, anyone here knows Harmony? Tahu tak?
I don't know.
Tak ada geng Huawei kat sini. So Huawei right now doesn't run on Android. They run on Harmony OS. So if you realize, not many apps on right now, many lah. Before this, they started with less app. So right now, Huawei using different version of Android, they call it Harmony OS. So they also have like different set of tools and coding conventions and libraries. It's similar to Android but different. So there you go, another OS to learn. So it will be headache, right? So to learn 1, 2, 3. But for advanced applications like Grab, like for example, you have mobile banking, what else in mind? Google Chrome, Netflix, and so on. They have their own native developer for each development, what you call environment. So that's why if you see display for, let's say, Telegram for Android is different from basically iOS, because totally different framework and different environment. But there is a solution to every problem, right? So people start thinking about, why not we develop in so many environment? Why should we? We should be able to develop in just one environment, and across that environment, people can see the development. You just develop once and deploy on all kind of environment or all kind of operating system. So we call it cross-platform mobile app framework. The problem with cross-platform mobile app framework is usually it is heavier, the size is bigger, and it's a bit hard for example, it's a bit heavy for the OS to carry on. So these are some example. For example, React Native, this is a common one. Ionic framework, Xamarin is from Microsoft bought this company and now it's Microsoft based, and Flutter is from Google. So the most common one I know in Malaysia, people using Flutter. So this is the most common. And the second one is React Native and Ionic, finally Xamarin. And the language are also different. So this one you need to learn JavaScript. Ionic you need to learn TypeScript, something similar to JavaScript. Xamarin you need to learn C#, and Flutter you need to learn a new language called Dart. So this will make a person a bit headache to understand each one of the framework. But once you learn how to program in this, you can develop for cross-platform, right? And these are some of the details. Anyhow, the cross-platform framework not as good as native one earlier, because the native always native to the basically operating system or the devices itself. Okay, so that's the crazy part. Now I'm going to introduce to you guys what we call as shortcuts, right? So these shortcuts are, for example, for those who doesn't want to learn programming but still want to develop an app. So let's say you got an idea, I want to make it fast and so on. So you can use these services. One is Empathize, and another one is Adalo. But I think it depends on person. I like Adalo better than Empathize. But most programmers don't want you guys to learn about this because they don't have job after this, right? So here I'm going to use Adalo, right? I already opened this one, this page basically. So in Adalo basically is let's try to open one. Empty one. So let's say you want to create an Adalo. So there's a watch video here. You can start it for free. You have a startup idea, you have a client's dream, and you want to do something like a side hustle, mean a side project of yourself, for example, an app for this class and so on. And you don't know how to code. You can use Adalo basically. The good thing about Adalo is, first thing I'm going to show you the pricing. It's free for you to explore with unlimited apps publish, but you need to publish to adalo.com and Adalo branding. But when you really basically going serious, you want to publish in Apple and Google stores, you have to pay lah, of course. $50 is around 200 ringgit. I think that's quite cheap rather than hire, for example, a programmer, you need to pay 2,000 ringgit, right? If hire me, maybe a lot more than that. Okay, right? So, but this is for your first one. Then the good thing about it, you have what they call as templates. Talking about the app we talked earlier about dating app, right? Here they have already the template for appointment apps. You want to create appointment, you click here. You want a coaching app, you get there. Ordering, you want to start another food panda, maybe food kangaroo or something, right? And Facebook clone, you want to destroy Facebook and create your own Facebook, you can do that. Real estate app, you want to sell basically houses and so on. Many here, and there's a lot more you can explore, right? And you can basically you can start without basically you don't have to start from scratch lah, in a sense, right? And that's what we call a marketplace here. In marketplace, let's say you want to embed YouTube. I think there's a YouTube one. Okay, there's a YouTube. You want to embed slider. You want to embed in your app Google Map. Let's say you want to create new food panda and so on. You can use it. Just Of course, you need to have money and buy it. So that's the good thing about Adalo, and it's really easy. And to open it, I think I have internet problem in UTM. I'm not sure why, or Malaysia, but it's quite slow to open Adalo. So I already opened it up here. You can have here, add component in the screen. But to start, basically, here you can, once you getting into Adalo, you can create new app. Which one do you want? A native mobile app or a desktop web app? Let's say you want to create mobile app, right, in this class. Next, you choose your template. It will be, let's say, appointment, because it's a dating app. So I'm going to use appointments, right? So next, ni adik Muslim dating halalan toiban, or too long, okay, halalan toiban dating, let's say. And you have a color, let's say green is good, I think, because it's about Muslim colors, usually greenish can, and maybe some blue. So these are my two primary colors or brand colors, right? So if UTM, maybe I use like a red, maroon, and there's a peach color there. So I got that, and I'm going to create an app template. Hopefully it will run fast. So here, while it's loading, okay, good, it's loading fast. So you can see the colors already there, and I can try it out. You have like add components, mean you want to add text, button, list, add bar, image, many more there. And if you want to link here to another screen, you can just, let's say, have you here, click on the first class here on one of the item. Right now it has no action, you just add action. Want to create user, update, delete, link to another screen, let's say class details and so on, you can do that, right? And I can preview it on iPhone 11 Pro. I can change it basically. I have Galaxy S20. I want to display it on Galaxy S20, let's say. So this is how it looks like on Galaxy S20. This is how it looks like on iPad Pro, right? And easily you can use it, right? Right. So many programmers hate me right now, right? So these are the screens. You can add new screens. Let's say you want new screen. These are the screen that you have, and you can add another screen. Let's say about, okay. So this is, let's say you already dating, you want to nikah, right? So I add a screen about blank screen, the nikah date. So now I have this name, field, and so on, right? And you can move it to where you want it. So remember I told you about you need a mouse, and the second one you need a trackpad, because I cannot scroll out this one with my mouse. I need to use my trackpad, and I can move where, let's say here, and so on. And from nikah date here, let's say enlarge it again on this screen. Once for this button, let's say data collection to users, and what you want. One submit button, you go to which page, and so on. So these are the actions. It's just like using PowerPoint, but advanced PowerPoint. Another concept you need to learn is the first one is branding, of course, the colors. Second is screen. The third one is the database. So one of the main component of understanding a mobile app of any app is a database. You understand how you're going to record all the data. Where do you get all the data basically? So you have like here in this template, you have users. So they have 3 users, requests, class type, classes, and so on. So for the users, it has email, password, username, full name, profile picture, favorite class type, classes, and book class. So it's just like your Excel file, but this is database file, right? So I can open this one. This is an example, and password is hidden. I want to add just for testing here. Farhan, UTM.my, password Farhan123. And profile picture, let's say I'll use my avatar, right? Okay. I'm going to save it based on the field or the things I got there, and it's already in the database. So I can right now test the app quickly. Oh, it's 3 p.m. Yep. Sorry dah lebih 45 minutes. So you can sign up here if you don't have an account or something. Or you can log in because I already put in database, right? My Farhan at UTM.my and Farhan123. I log in. Tada, so you got all the database, see all classes. Close. And which one? Let's say becoming a leader. Request a class, submit request. And we put it basically in my Excel file or the database you got there, right? And I can learn, teach, and so on. It's all there. You just need to customize it to what you need, right? So that's Adalo, and make it a secret in your class, okay? So finally, this is remark from me because the times doesn't basically give me chances to explain a bit more about Adalo or basically Invision App. First, you need to think about your brand in the designing process. Brand is very important. Like I said, it's like if you're Manchester United, make it Manchester United. Don't make it Chelsea, right? If you're Liverpool, make it Liverpool. Although it's red, it's Liverpool red, and Manchester United is Manchester United red, right? And always listen to user feedbacks. That's very important. Sometimes the simplest thing people forget about user feedback, becoming like a problem, and some other company take it a chance, they make it a better basically product, right? Keep the app simple and engaging. Try to reduce the number of clicks of users. So there's a theory called 8 clicks. So users should be able to do their task less than 8 clicks or something. So there's a theory. I think it's sometimes people say 3 clicks. If you realize Google have like a search bar right now, right? Before this, Yahoo have like so many things on the screen. So make people doesn't like Yahoo and move to Google, right? And when things are getting more complex, when your app, let's say your dating app becoming so popular and people start using it and you start getting headache how to manage it, you need to really hire a programmer. And at that time, you need to go native app and you need to hire a programmer to create the right app for the right situation, because once you got so many users and so on, then you need to think about a proper development team. And finally, don't forget about marketing. Marketing is very important, as is how you brand your stuff and how basically you put it forward. There's no much different right now. Bing, Microsoft Bing, you know, right? The search engine Microsoft Bing, and Google, basically Google search. But Bing doesn't have any marketing power than basically Google. So Google win lah. Also same as Samsung Galaxy S20 versus iPhone 12, right? So although Samsung Galaxy 20 has more functions, the Apple wins, right? So same, right? Okay, that's it for me. Okay, I exceed my time. Sorry, boy. Thank you very much. Any questions or anything?
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Farhan, for your excellent sharing and lecture about mobile app development process. So before we end our session today, so let's have some Q&A session and see some of the questions that our viewer have sent. Dear ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, you are encouraged to ask a question. You may unmute yourself or share your question in the chat box. All right, looks like we have a question in the chat box, which is, it is from Hish Vincent. Doctor, one thing I'm curious about is how much you can charge for a functioning app like the one you just shown.
Okay, it usually depend on the customer, and basically the function that you want. But the one that you see in Adalo, usually you can go up to 5K ringgit easily, and that's before the people know about Adalo. But now people know about Adalo, maybe you need to charge lower lah. It depends on the functions and the domain, right? The better your graphic are, the better sometimes people look into that too. The higher the price.
Okay, looks like we have the second question from Abdul Shakur Priest, which is, he asked, what does native means? This is in the remark slide, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, the native means is an app design, or basically a platform like designed for a specific kind of environment. Let's say this is an app designed for iOS, so it will be function a lot better for iOS. This is an app for the purpose of Android, so it's native to the environment. Just like, for example, you have four-wheel car, is designed for off-road, right? So it's native for off-road and will be good for off-road. And you have a, let's say, F1 car is designed for track. So you have also a multi-purpose car like let's say a Mercedes C-Class. It's designed for everywhere, right? So it's multi-purpose, it can be everywhere. But if you have a native app, let's say you have an F1 car for a racetrack, then it will be faster there, it will be good on the track, right? So it means native to the environment, right?
All right, so we have one question, the third question from the same person, Hish Vincent. He said that, Doctor, I am currently interested in Flutter, but I'm not sure if it is the correct platform to study. What advantage does Flutter have, and how it could come into play when comparing against native and also apps like Adalo platform?
Right, so Flutter is a good start basically, and most of developers right now talking about Flutter because it's of course by Google, and if you are into machine learning and so on, so you can easily basically use machine learning kind of framework. And because Google have machine learning framework called TensorFlow, so this is another thing you can talk about later on, but you can integrate it quite easy with Flutter and all Google kind of basically product lines. You can easily integrate it. And how it come to play when comparing against native, of course native is the best, and usually the Flutter is one good platform, but native always the best. And also apps like Adalo is a shortcuts, so when you have shortcuts, it's not that perfect. It just basically to make you start faster. So Adalo is just a platform where you can make an app fast, easy without coding. So there's a concept of no code mobile development. So AppyPie, Adalo, and so on. So this, you don't have to code, but in the background of the app, there's a lot of basically unused codes because it has been automated. So the best one is always native. Then you can go for cross-platform, and you can use services like Adalo and so on, Adalo platform and so on.
All right, it looks like we have the last question from Ahmad Shamil. Okay, Doctor, from your point of view, which one do you recommend more for business use?
Okay, let's say you have an idea right now, you want to make it sure tomorrow you can run it, and you don't have any programming background, straight away go Adalo, right? You can deploy it as fast as possible. Okay, if you have a team, like I say, like the trio, the persons like the integrator, the idea maker, and the developer and the designer, and you can make an app in let's say about a month. You can go for multi-platform would be right, or cross-platform. because you don't want to waste your time, or you don't have the team, large team, for example, to develop in different platforms. But some companies are very specific to the platform. Let's say there are some apps available in Apple first, then after a few months or I think a year or something, it will be available in Android. So people always see like Apple platform is a premium market where it's polished and so on, right? But the Android market is a more free kind of environment. And you need to see also your customers or your users. In Asia, how many percent Android users? How many percent you think that your users are, let's say, premium users? So let's say you're trying to create an app for upmarket kind of restaurant. I say go for developing in let's say Apple environment, iOS environment. If you just going for mass market, go develop in basically Android, or go cross platform and so on. So business use, you need to see each business what you want to, and let's say if you don't have any technical background, go Adalo first, and will be fast and easy to implement.
All right, so I guess there is no other question from the audience. So I would like to pass to Siti Shahira.
Okay, Alhamdulillah, we have finally reached the end of our webinar today. So on behalf of Dr. Rose and our classmates, we thank Dr. Farhan for joining us today. And thank you also to the viewers who are staying with us until the very end of this event. So we hope that all of you are benefited from today's event, and thank you for joining us. We hope you have a great day, and Salam Ramadan. Assalamualaikum, and stay safe, everyone.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, everyone. Sorry if there's any mistake and so on. You can contact me anytime.
Thank you, Doctor.
All right, thank you,
Doctor.